This video is going to be the start of a new series in which I look at some of the top teams in the NHL and say if I think they are a contender or a pretender, and just look at their overall statistics and how they've been playing so far this season. And I decided to start with the New York Islanders since they're kind of the topic of discussion, well, more so their fans. But in today's video I'm going to be looking at the team, because really what the team has been doing this year is phenomenal. Barry Trotz has been doing an amazing job. I think he's guaranteed to win Coach of the Year. So we're not going to be looking at the controversial fans and all the stuff that happened last night. We're just going to be looking at the team overall so far this season, and I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on if I think they are a contender or a pretender. Currently, the New York Islanders sit first in the Metropolitan Division, 2 points ahead of the Washington Capitals with a game in hand. And if you were to tell me before the season started that the New York Islanders were going to win their division, I would have said you're crazy. And yes, there's still a lot of time left, and they may not even finish as the top team in their division. I most definitely think they're going to be a playoff team. They currently sit 6th overall in the entire NHL, just 1 point back of the San Jose Sharks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. The season that the Islanders are putting together really is just remarkable, and when you look at their stats, you wouldn't really think this is one of the top teams in the NHL. They rank 20th in goals, 30th in shots on goal per game, 24th on the power play. They are 9th in shooting percentage, so while they don't shoot a lot, they pick their shots wisely and score the majority of the time. Face-off percentage, they're 28th in the league, but the thing that is making the New York Islanders so deadly this year is the goals against, where they rank first in the entire NHL, and you'd think that would be the opposite because they don't really have any big name, superstar caliber defensemen. They just have a bunch of pretty solid defensemen that know what their role is and how to do their job. Nick Leddy's been pretty good for them this year. Johnny Boychuk, I think Ryan Pulock has been their best defenseman overall this season. And then obviously in goal with Robin Lehner, he has just been amazing this year. He has a 2.07 goals against and a .931 save percentage with a record of 20 and 10 and 5 overtime losses. So he really just has been fantastic, and that's kind of been the knock on this team over the past couple of years. They haven't really had a bona fide number one goalie, especially in the John Tavares era. They didn't really have a goalie that could steal them games or really let them go deep into the playoffs. And especially in the playoffs, you're not going to get very far if you don't have a goaltender that can make you big saves, and that's something they haven't had, but they really do have it this year in Robin Lehner, and that's really nice to see after the kind of rough stint that he had with the Buffalo Sabres, but he really was the answer in goal. Obviously, I think Barry Trotz has been huge for this entire team, and it seems like they're just playing as a unit. They're playing together. There's no selfish guys on this team, and honestly, I think losing John Tavares was the best thing that could have happened to this team, not because it's not any knock on John Tavares. I just think that really lit a fire under this team for them all to play collectively as a unit and not rely so much on John Tavares, because they all now have to pull their own weight. They don't have one bona fide superstar, which John Tavares was, and I think John Tavares is better off as a Leaf, and I think the New York Islanders are better off without John Tavares. So that's why I don't really get all the ridiculous hate that John Tavares has been getting from New York Islanders fans. Yeah, I expect them to boo them. I don't have any problem with that. That just shows passionate fans. But all the extra stuff like throwing jerseys, running over jerseys, burning them and stuff like that, that's really ridiculous. I don't really think that is smart at all. And then throwing plastic snakes on the ice. I don't want to talk about this too much, but I just think both teams, the Leafs and the Islanders, are better off after the move. And Islanders fans, you're one of the best teams in the NHL, so I wouldn't even really, put too much attention on John Tavares, because you're showing him you can win without him, and I want to see this matchup in the playoffs so bad, and I'm sure any other hockey fan does as well. That would be unreal. Definitely would be probably one of the more funner series to watch in the postseason if it is to happen, but obviously I think the only way they can meet is in the conference finals since they are in separate divisions. But currently this year, Matt Barzal leads the way for the New York Islanders, 52 points in 63 games, following up on his really solid rookie season that he had. Josh Bailey second with 48 points, Brock Nelson with 43, 20 goals, and then Anders Lee with 22 goals and 20 assists for 42 points. So Anders Lee not quite on the tear he was last year where he scored 40 plus goals, but still probably going to be a 30 plus goal scorer, and he really has been a great choice as the captain for the New York Islanders. And then Ryan Pulock, 31 points, he's having a great year. So they're just really getting a collective effort from a lot of the guys. This is a deep team. They can really roll all the lines. I love their fourth line or third line, whatever these guys play on, but sometimes they have Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck, and Casey Cizikas all on the same line. That's a very entertaining line to watch and definitely would be a tough one to play against. But now, getting into the main part of the video, talking about if I think the New York Islanders are a contender or a pretender. So obviously it's undeniable they are one of the best teams in the NHL, but sometimes regular season success does not always translate into the playoffs, and this is a young team, with Matt Barzal really leading the way, obviously only in his second NHL season, and I'm not quite sure if these guys are ready to make a legitimate push into the playoffs, just because we haven't really seen that from any of these guys really. And Robin Leonard didn't really have much success in Buffalo. The only real successful person in this organization as terms of Stanley Cups and going to the finals is Barry Trotz with his Stanley Cup last season. So honestly, I'm going to say pretender just for this year, but I definitely think they're heading in the right direction, and they could surprise a lot of people. I do see them probably winning a round, maybe two, but I honestly don't really take them as a legitimate Stanley Cup contender, even though they are one of the top 6 teams in the NHL. And if you're New York Islanders fans, don't freak out at me. I honestly think your organization is heading in a really, really good direction, and the future is probably bright. And if this continues for the next couple of years, then next year I will probably be ready to say that this team is a legitimate contender. But man, are they ever fun to watch, and I'm very curious and excited to see how they fare in the playoffs. So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know down in the comment section what is the next team that you guys want to see me do one of these videos on. And with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.